The McDonnell Company had been developing designs to fill the high-performance fighter role. Some had variable geometry of the wings, and some utilized new shapes. But by 1969, McDonnell settled on a basic design which walked away with the Air Force Experimental Fighter Competition. An order for 20 F-15s went to McDonnell on January 1st, 1970. McDonnell's biggest previous success was the development of the F-4 Phantom. Like many of their planes, the F-4 was originally conceived as a Navy fighter, but its versatility soon made it the standard fighter for all three of the American air arms, the only plane ever to do so. Now, the St. Louis plant was geared up to produce a new shape. The F-15 design was subjected to the most critical tests of any aircraft, and templates and models were made to confirm the aircraft's viability. Slowly, the first prototype was pieced together like a huge three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. Testing and refining continued as the plane evolved. Here, a prototype is seen in paint shop in the last stages of production. The Air Force officer in charge of the F-15 project gives his thoughts on the team effort.
I have never seen a finer joint government industry team that's organized with the technical competence to carry out the job that's been assigned to them, or to do it in a manner of close-knit teamwork.
The first F-15 was rolled out on June 26, 1972.
I christen the Eagle, and may you reign supreme in your domain.
Hear, hear.
The Eagle's raised canopy gives it the best field of vision of any fighter since the Sabre. Since the first Eagles would have only one pilot, that man would have to have the best vision available. Seen here are the Eagle's variable air intakes, a sophisticated feature which allows its computer to optimize the air supply for any combination of angle of attack. The massive air brake running down the aircraft's spine not only slows the plane, but makes it more maneuverable in certain circumstances. Being conceived from the outset as an air superiority fighter, provisions were made for built-in cannon, something the early Phantoms had been designed without. For normal attack, the medium-range Sparrow missiles, a development of those used over Vietnam, were to be carried two abreast on each side of the plane's engine. The 4 Sparrows were supplemented by 4 more Sidewinder missiles, shown here on the outside, used for short-range attack when the cannon was not suitable. Fully armed, the F-15 Eagle was a truly potent aircraft, which it was hoped could counter anything the Soviets could produce. Its distinctive twin fins sit each side of the complex jet exhaust and give the aircraft increased stability at high speed, allowing the pilot maximum control of the aircraft if it should lose an engine in flight. McDonnell and the Air Force thought the Eagle would be the answer to fighter needs for years to come, but this was yet to be proven. The aircraft was shipped to Edwards Air Force Base for its first flight. The complex jet exhausts, sometimes known as turkey feathers, adjust as the engines start for a ground test prior to the F-15's first flight. In case of brake failure, the plane was securely moored to the runway for the static engine test series. When the technicians were satisfied, test pilot Irv Burrows made his inspection. You can get some indication of the aircraft's immense size as he walks up under the wing. With so much at stake, he's understandably cautious. The engines are slowly started again, and the ground crew disperses. For the first time, the Eagle taxis under its own power. Even on the ground, the McDonnell F-15 Eagle is an impressive sight. The red markings on the wing, intake, tips, and tails are only used on the prototype and not the production model. Here, the F-15's massive Pratt & Whitney F-100 turbofans, part of the secret of Eagle's phenomenal performance, are brought up to takeoff thrust. With the brakes released, the pilot lifts the first Eagle on its first flight. Screaming down the runway, he pulls the stick back, and Eagle number 1 is in the air.
Well, the F-15 is a fighter pilot's airplane. It's built for the fighter pilot. It takes all the activities that you have to perform and makes it very easy, not easy mentally, but easy physically to accomplish the tasks that are necessary to perform your duties. And at the same time, you can do almost everything by keeping your eyes outside of the cockpit. You don't have to look at the instruments to fly the airplane in a combat situation. You can do it all by what we call the HOTAS, hands-on, throttle, and stick arrangement. Buttons on the throttle and buttons on the stick that allow you to complete all the tasks that you need to do without having to look down to find a switch or look down to change something or determine where you are. And plus, it's got the performance of the engines, it's got a phenomenal radar, and it's got good weapons systems. So it's got everything that the fighter pilot needs to make it the perfect airplane.